of Operations and Membership Development here at the Corona Chamber, and I'm welcoming you all to our veteran-owned business seminar featuring our speakers with the County of Riverside and also local veteran-owned businesses. This event is a partnership with us here at the Corona Chamber and with the City of Corona. But before we get started, I would like to ask all of you to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. I'm going to do a really quick go around the room of self-introduction so everybody gets to know everybody in the room, just your name and current business and what, if you served, what branch.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Stetham with Riverside County Office of Economic Development. I'm also the small business advocate for the county.
Hi, good morning. My name is Samuel Anguiano. I'm with Veterans Traffic Services, and I served in the Army for 8 years.
Hi, my name is Arlene Hernandez. I'm with City of Corona Office of Economic Development.
Hi, Amanda Wicker, City of Corona Office of Economic Development.
Hi, I'm Sierra. I am with the Miliari Group and I was with the Army. I'm Hunter and we can't tell we're twins. I was also in the Army for 5 years and I'm also a part of our Miliari Group business.
I'm Jake. I was in the military for 7 years. We're part of the Miliari Group and we just help families reach financial goals for free.
Anthony Maldonado, Programs Coordinator for the Corona Chamber.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Gigi Banks, Creative Solutions, Marketing and Printing. And the biggest question I have for you guys is because I serve the Peruvian Navy. So I don't know if I qualify for this, and that's why I'm here.
Jimmy King, CK Trucking owner, U.S. Army. Jim Van Nuker, owner of Skytone Pickups, United States Navy.
Thank you all so much for your service. I'm here. I just have a few announcements in front of you. You will see the current issue of our Corona Business News, the November-December edition. The January-February issue is currently being worked on. If you would like more information on advertising your business through that, just meet with me after the workshop here today. Coming up on December 1st, we will be having our Coffee with an Entrepreneur featuring the founders of Happiest Hours, a local business here in the city of Corona. Ryan, Alana, and CJ started out with just an idea that grew into a mobile bartending service, which grew even further into Corona's newest wine and spirits shop. They are incredible entrepreneurs, and we are thrilled to be able to hear more of their story. So if you would like to attend and hear that, register now for the December 1st Coffee with an Entrepreneur. There is a QR code on the screen if you'd like more info. Maybe not.
It's not.
Just kidding. Go onto our website and you can register through there as well. Installation. Our 112th Annual Installation and Awards Gala is coming up January 26, 2023. We will be honoring all of our, we will be honoring our local businesses and some amazing individuals, as well as installing our board of directors for 2023. This is a formal event. It is open to all, so be sure to register because it's going to be an evening to remember. And there is a QR code. I had to check. Visit you can scan the QR code to learn more about that event as well. Earlier, I shared about this event being sponsored in partnership with the City of Corona, and it is my pleasure to welcome Amanda Wicker, the City of Corona's Economic Development Administrator. Amanda has a real passion for the business community, and the Chamber and the City work side by side to help businesses succeed. I am honored that Amanda is here today to share a few items of interest. Please welcome Amanda.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Desiree. Thanks for having me. And thank you all, and for all of you that serve, thank you so much for your service to our country. It's greatly appreciated. So very excited to have today's seminar for you all. I think it's going to be really informative. I'm excited to learn about some of the opportunities and challenges that you've all experienced and how you've overcome them and everything. And I know Stephanie's going to be sharing some great resources as well. Just really quickly, one new initiative that I'd like to highlight from the City of Corona specifically is what we call Live Work Corona. It's a very new workforce development initiative, and really what it seeks to do is to better connect our local job seekers with our local companies that are hiring. So there's resources and information for both the job seeker side as well as our companies that are looking for any type of assistance, whether it be hiring or training. There's a lot of great information on there. So definitely want to encourage you to visit our website. It's livework.coronaca.gov, and you can find a lot of information on there. And I'll also be here for the duration of today's seminar, so please feel free to chat with me after the conclusion, and I'll be happy to share more information with you. All right, up next, I'm excited to introduce our first speaker for today, who is Stephanie Stetham. Is that accurate? I'm still introducing, okay. So Stephanie, is the small business advocate for the Riverside County Office of Economic Development. She is responsible for providing business support through a variety of programs throughout Riverside County. Her focus is on small business assistance, providing many valuable resources to business owners and entrepreneurs. And she is also the lead for the county's Veterans Business Resources Now program and its accompanying workshops. So very excited to hear what she has to share. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Also, thank you very much to the Corona Chamber and the City of Corona. I really appreciate the invitation to come speak to you all today. Whenever we get a chance to share resources, we jump on it because I live, breathe, and eat resources and programs every day, and sometimes you forget that there might be somebody out there who doesn't know about this and could benefit from it. So we'll get started. The Riverside County Office of Economic Development is here to offer support as you look to start or expand your business in the County of Riverside. We have many different avenues to help you in those areas, but today I wanted to focus on one that is the specific to veterans, the Veterans Business Resources Now program. So through this program, you will learn about procuring government contracts, and that would be with county, state, and federal government. Financial resources, that could be small business loans, grants, or tax incentives that are specific to your sector. Business startup and expansion. So we can offer you information on how to start and expand your business, and we work closely with the SBDC, which is the Small Business Development Center. So they are a free service to help you through those things. Permit assistance. So if you have a site and you need permitting or planning needs and it's in the unincorporated area of the county, we can assist directly with our planning department. So I would act as your liaison and make sure you get all of your questions answered and everything runs smoothly if that's in the unincorporated area. If it's in the city limits, we put you together with the economic development team for that particular city, such as City of Corona and their planning department. Last thing on this program, hiring and training. So our workforce development department can help you if you need to hire an employee. They can help you with job fairs, just getting the word out, matching you with employees, and also training. So if you want to do on-the-job training with an employee, you could get reimbursed up to 50% of that employee's pay for a certain amount of hours. So that's a really great incentive program for employers. Part of this program is quarterly workshops. So those are held in Riverside, Southwest County, and the Coachella Valley. We like to spread the love around the county, so everybody gets a chance to attend. And they are in person and virtual, depending on what's going on at that time. Is it working? We bring you these workshops with our partners through the County of Riverside Veterans Services, Workforce Development, our county purchasing, and the SBDC. Topics for these workshops include, but are not limited to, how to do business with the county, state, and federal government, how to start or expand a business, hiring and training assistance and incentives. And our first workshop that we held was in Riverside a few weeks ago. I'm not sure if any of you were there, but we had a full house, and it was based on procurement was the focus. And it was very well attended, and we got a lot of great feedback from the people who attended. So, next. So another part of this program is business resources. On our website, which is rivcoed.org/veterans, you can find what upcoming events, any kind of workshops that are coming up, past events with links to videos or things like that, and then business resources. So that would be for county, state, and federal. So that's our Veterans Business Assistance program, but there's also a couple of programs that are coming up through Thrive. So Thrive is a series of workshops that we have in partnership with the SBDC, and those are brought to you with funds from the American Rescue Plan, so ARPA. These workshops all come with grants attached. So there's different topics. Some of them are like how to start a child care business, agriculture, farm to retail, and things like that. But the ones that I want to talk to you about today are specific to veterans. So number one, veteran-owned business startup and veteran-owned business expansion. And each one of those comes with a $2,500 grant. So once you complete the program and you provide all of the licenses, permits, and anything you need to be in business legally, you can apply for that $2,500 grant. So the SBDC, this is an amazing program because they'll walk you from, I have an idea for a business, all the way through, my business is doing great and I need to expand to a new building, don't know where to start. So really great resource to take advantage of. And we can also help as well with site selection. So if you are looking for a place to start your business, we can help you with the site selection as well. So make sure to follow us on all of our social media. We have all of them: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Our handle is RivcoED, and our newsletter as well. If you go onto our website to contact, you can sign up for our newsletter, and that's once a week, and it's just jam-packed with all kinds of resources and programs and events that are going on in the county that can assist you with your business. This is our contact information, but my cards are at the back, so if anybody has any questions, you need to reach out about anything at all, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm the small business advocate, so I'm here to champion for you in your business. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, and thank you, Amanda, for that. And we are so happy that we are a part of this to bring this type of seminar to the specific group, our veterans. And so yeah. So right now I'd like to introduce our local veteran business owners, and they'll be answering some pre-submitted questions and then take some questions from the audience. We have, next to me, we have David Brambilla, the president of Creative Marketing. Please help me welcome him. Dr. Marina Miller, president of M Health and Beauty. And Dr. Prab Gruel, owner of Corona Oral Surgery and Implant Center. So I'm going to start off by asking them some quick questions, and I'm going to pass the mic to you and then back and forth, okay? Let's see. Let's start off with giving some quick background info about each of you. First question is, how long did you serve and for what branch, and then what do you currently do now?
Hi, everybody. David Brambilla. I served 8 years in the Marine Corps from 1993 to 2001. What motivated me to join was the Gulf War, but by the time I joined, the Gulf War was over. And I got out 2 months before 9/11, so it was very hard to get out, but I had already signed a lease, 6-year lease, to open up my first business in Corona, so kind of forced me to stay out. I served, like I said, I served 8 years. What I'm currently doing, I wear many hats. I'm president of Creative Marketing. I specialize in print and promotional items. I'm also a real estate broker. I own my own brokerage firm. And I'm very active in the veteran community. I'm past commander of the American Legion here in town, Post 742. And now I oversee the 17 American Legions in Riverside County. So very thrilled to be active in assisting veterans. I guess it's maybe the guilt of not serving that got me to really be active, and so I'm more than happy to fill that void and assist my fellow vets.
is Marina Miller, and I served in the United States Army for 9 years. I joined because 9/11, so you got out 2 months before. I was in 10th grade when I saw that event take place, and it moved me, so I joined at 17 and did 9 years. Got out and went to college, and prior to me opening up my business, I was working in pain management, and then the pandemic happened, and my poor little Indian mom, who's 74 years old and does not speak English, couldn't handle 5 kids at home being homeschooled. She's great at babysitting, but could not figure out the computers. So I kind of had to work from home, and it just was not working out. So I decided, well, let's use this time to open up a business, and I left pain management and decided to focus on aesthetics as well as regenerative medicine, because being healthy and staying pretty or trying to stay young is, you know, it's something that's important to me. So I thought I'd bring that to everybody else. And yeah, that's about it. That's where I am right now.
I'm Prav Grewal. I served 13 years in the United States Army. Did my training in San Antonio with the Air Force as well, and then spent time in Bethesda with Walter Reed with the Navy as well. The medical corps and the military now, everything's kind of joint, you know, purple suiters. Yeah, I did 13 years, and then got out in the summer of 2020, ETS'd from Walter Reed, and then got in touch with Dr. Arthur Kilcuts, who had been in town here for about 34 years as an oral surgeon, and he was looking to transition, and the military was serendipitous to me then. It turns out he was pretty particular in who he was going to pass the practice off to, and his brother-in-law was an Air Force trained oral surgeon, and so small world, and so because of that I kind of got a little shout out from them, so that's how we ended up here, and yeah, I've been at Corona for just about 2 years now.
The next question is, what is the first step a veteran should take if they want to start their business?
Yeah, I guess, well, for me, since my business is pretty specific, you know, for me it was mainly finding an existing practice and or location, but I would imagine for most veterans, a lot of the things are going to be the same, right? Finding locations, financing, those are going to be probably the 2 biggest steps I would imagine most veterans are going to go through, and hopefully there'll be some services and the programs that we can find out about today that make that easier. I know she already mentioned site selection is one of them, because that's, whether if you're open a de novo business, that's obviously going to be probably step number 1. So.
Well, similar to his situation, my career is very job specific, and it's based on my licensing, but throughout this I've had other opportunities because I wrote a lot of the policies for my business. I wanted to know every aspect of it, from hiring to firing to getting contracts. So as I was writing this, you know, my hubby is like, you know, you're really nice. You're always talking and giving people, and it took you 2 years to put this into practice. No, if they want to talk to you, your brain is valuable. We're going to charge people. So somehow I became an unofficial consultant. That expanded into social media. How do we help other people do this? Oh, sorry, that's my son's parent-teacher conference. So one of the things that we started looking, we reached out to some of my friends that I was in the Army with, because my background is transportation corps. I mean, I deployed to Iraq. I had nothing to do with, I just got out, joined the medical field, started a job, but had no clue about business. And one of the things that my friend who works in Washington, D.C. and helps writes policies, referred to me was the Women, Veterans, and Small Business Initiative. They had a lot of resources for women that are going in there, and my friend then owns a company that distributes food. So I'm like, hey, I'm still friends with a lot of the commanders and stuff on base, and they do meals to these bases. So how can I get in there? Oh, turns out there, for any big things, a certain percentage, I want to say it's like 3% has to go to a veteran. Out of that 3%, a certain percentage has to go to a disabled veteran. Oh, I check both of those boxes. And from there, a certain percentage has to go to a woman. I'm like, oh great, that's why the business is all in my name, because turns out being a woman disabled veteran has a lot of perks. I would have never known these things had I not went into these women-owned veteran organizations. Another great organization is the Small Business Administration.gov, so I went on there. And luckily for me, I didn't need a lot of loans or grants. There were those available, but I was not looking to get a major government contract. But now that we're trying to expand into this food industry and trying to see how we can get that became something where I can partner, and now I have to learn about that field because they're not going to just give it to everybody. But turns out me being a veteran and being a partner with somebody else has become an asset to them, and to procure those contract. So that's, you know, that's in the works right now.
I think the first step, anybody who's thinking about opening up a business, is to write a business plan. It's very important that you know, you forecast, you look at a plan, you reflect on it to see if you're on track. And if you're not, then you can make some adjustments. If you just open up a business, trust me, there's gonna be more costs than you think there are. So having a business plan will actually have you go step by step, forecasting what your inventory is, what your permits are gonna cost, labor, rent, all your overhead. So without that, it's very hard. The first couple of years staying in business, if you're gonna open up a brick and mortar, first couple of years, it's you know, you're fighting for your life. The chances of you not succeeding are extremely high. So by having a business plan, it's gonna give you the tools to succeed. For me, when I got out of the Marine Corps in 2001, I opened up a retail store here in Corona, costume and party store. Well, if you remember 2001, that's when 9/11 happened. The costume part was for Halloween. I was supposed to make a lot of the revenue that was going to carry me for the rest of the year for Halloween. Well, Halloween didn't happen in 2001. Everybody was scared and everybody stayed indoors. So my business almost went under the same month that I opened it up. So luckily that business plan, I was able to reflect on that and really, you know, tweak it a little bit and be able to stay open. So I was able to keep that business for 5 years, sold it for a nice low price. The SBA is a great resource. Just know that the SBA is not gonna loan money to those that don't have money. So you need to make sure your credit's good and you need to have money as well, or else you're not gonna get anything.
Next question. Are there any skills that you learned in your military career that you have applied to your own business?
Okay, as far as skills, can't really sell any bodies out in the real world, so. No seriousness.
It's all right.
So no, I think the discipline that the military gave me was very instrumental in staying focused, staying disciplined. You know, I live by my motto, the Marine Corps motto is persevere, adapt, and overcome. So any obstacle that comes to place, anything changes, don't freak out. Just persevere, push through, figure out what else you have to do, go around that obstacle, adapt to it, and you'll always be successful.
I mean, like I said, I joined when I was 17, so my entire young adult life was shaped by the military, and I am grateful for that because it taught me a lot of valuable skills. The Army has our little acronym leadership and what it stands for, and you can literally take each of those and apply it to real life. And that discipline, like he said, is just a big part. Has allowed me to finish college, allowed me to be a mom, handle family, handle so many stressors at the same time, because you can't control what other people do, you can't control situations. But I am able to control myself and control what I am, my environment, and make decisions that I think are in the best interest. And that was because of the military, especially being deployed. Things happen, and convoys, I mean, when I first got there, I was scared. And I remember not being able to go to sleep and praying that I don't die. And then I remember after a while, I just got so used to it. And now when I look at it, it's like I can handle anything. Just, you know, car accident. My house right now is flooded and construction's happening. There's 5 kids. It's just a day. You know, and that adaptability is something that the military taught me. Leadership, how to deal with people. I had an amazing mentor, Sergeant First Class Moore, who is now Major Moore, and he taught me that leadership is not about telling people what to do, but getting out there with your troops and serving with them. So till this day, if I always believe that it's serving with everyone, and it's not my position to just be in charge, but it's my job to build up my team. So I'm building everything slowly and building a good group, and hopefully I could be a good example for them. And as far as other military skills that I've applied, networking. The military is a huge family. I mean, I have friends from boot camp that I stayed in touch with. You have friends that are like family in all kinds of different states, and it's amazing how just even on social media, I'll post something, they're supporting my business. Hey, I have a buddy out here, you should meet him in San Diego, he's doing this, he can help you out. And it's just, that military world, it's just, we're so loyal to each other, so supportive of each other. You know, when the Army-Navy football game happens, we don't really, you know, we root for our own, and we're very competitive with each other, but it doesn't matter. Outside of that, we're just all one big team, and I think that networking skill that I got from the Army has been hugely beneficial in me opening up a business and being able to break even in 1 year, which I'm super blessed to be able to say that.
I think for me, some of the skill sets, just some of the leadership things that they teach in the military, being in charge of the clinics I was at, you know, they have OICs or officer in charge in the Army, and clinic commanders. Haven't been in those roles before, having had to basically lead a team. Although it's different when you're your own business owner because you're the one writing the checks, right? As opposed to when you're in the military, you're just another supervisor. But still, the skill sets are the same, right? Managing people, dealing with subordinates, auxiliary staff, you know, people from different levels within the clinic. So a lot of those skill sets translated, I would say, just how to treat people, how to treat humans. Another thing that you, Dr. Miller, had mentioned was she mentioned writing policies. That was another thing I think that you know, I hated having to do in the military, right? All those SOPs and all that stuff we have to deal with. But I'll tell you that it does translate into the private sector as well in pretty much every industry. And so having some of that background, I think, was pretty good as well. Yeah, those are probably the biggest issues.
Keep that.
Yeah.
Next question is, what was your biggest challenge in transitioning from the military into the business world?
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges there. One of the ones I think in the beginning for me was realizing after, you know, since I graduated dental school until now, I'd been in the military the whole entire time. I did my surgery training through them, and so I'd been under this umbrella that you don't even realize how protected and kind of safe you are, right? The leave is paid for, the healthcare is paid for. Every 2 weeks you're going to get a check, whether it's pandemic or whether my patients show up or not, etc. And then, like David was saying in the beginning, right? When you own a business, you're the last one who gets paid if you get paid. And in the very first few years of owning a business, whether you're buying one or opening one, it ends up being the same financially. You're basically upside down, trying to stay, you know, afloat. Whereas in the Army, you didn't have to worry about any of that. So there was definitely a lot of that, a lot of anxieties that come up, things that you have to deal with now that you didn't have to deal with in the military. So I think that was one of the biggest challenges, was just the emotional or mental hurdle of understanding that your safety blanket's kind of gone when you're on your own in a business. And the other challenges, I would say, this is more of a real practical logistic one, but you mentioned the SBA, not, you know, as far as funding goes, you come out of the military and you've been a W-2 employee all these years, you own a practice or any kind of business, you go to the bank and they're like, yo, we're not gonna give you a loan for anything until you've got 3 years of tax returns, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't matter that you're making a lot more than you made in the military or not, it makes no difference. And so then all of a sudden you realize that, oh gosh, my Army job was nice and easy, go get loans for anything you want, buy a house, rent a place, but then in the real world, not as simple. So there were some logistical challenges there too that I didn't anticipate.
Well, I mean, I guess mine was a little different because I got out and it was right after deployment, and I originally had a hard time fitting in with anybody that was not military, because I was like, man, I'm so behind on college, everybody else is already graduating and I gotta hurry up and get in and finish. And I, you know, in between my deployments, I came back and I had a hard time adjusting because nobody was wearing the same uniform, nobody's walking around with a weapon. So, well, I don't know, this is just weird. So I had it's hard to explain, like, going into college, I had a lot of anxiety that I never had because I've been a lifetime scholar and I love school. So once I got, I guess, past all that, I kind of didn't have to really transition out of the military because it was just getting through college, and I got out in 2011 and then I finished all my college. So by the time I opened up a business, I didn't have any adjusting from military to a business owner challenge. But like he was saying, yeah, just getting loans and all that kind of stuff, I thought it would be easier when you just put that you're a veteran, but you do have to have good credit score. And if you are, you know, finishing a college and you come out with $250,000 of student loans, and it doesn't matter whether you're a veteran or not. So these resources are great, but there was a lot that I did not know. So it was, you know, it was a shock, because I didn't know how everybody else made it look so easy, but nobody really tells you the legwork. And you know, to what he's saying, I still haven't taken home a paycheck. The business broke even and made a small profit. I pay my employees, but I have not taken home a paycheck myself. And I'm just had my 1-year anniversary in August. So that is scary, and that's like what he was saying, you have to be able to adapt and pray and hope that this works. So that's basically where I'm at right now.
Well, for me, it was, you're in the military, everything's fast-paced, there's always a challenge, there's always something to do. And then get into the civilian world, I had a hard time transitioning. You mentioned going to school, being in college. I was probably the oldest student in my class. I'm going to school with 18, 19-year-olds, and here I am, my mid-20s. So that was interesting. So I think the transition, just fast-paced to just everything slowing down, and then the anxiety of going back to school. I failed my first quarter in school, all Fs. I couldn't focus. I couldn't get back into the thinking of knowing how to study, and even though the discipline was there, I couldn't get through it. So I had to take a quarter off, really regroup, and then I was successful after that.
Final question for the panel. Have you used any veteran business programs to get your business started? Or actually even during your business?
Well, I just actually got exposed to the Riverside County Economic Development. They had a workshop about 3 weeks ago. So that, for me, is very, as far as getting the procurement of government contracts, taking the first steps to go through that program, get my, designations or certifications of being recognized as a veteran-owned business. So I'm very excited about that. The only thing that I took advantage when I was first opened up my marketing business 12 years ago was the city of Corona used to offer waivers for the business license. I think they took that away. Now it was now it's like it's almost like arts and crafts, doing it at home type of business, not a bigger business with employees and whatnot. So City of Corona will have to work on that to get that back. No pressure there, Amanda.
So I have not, because mine, it's, there's no government contract right now for what I'm currently doing, which is aesthetics and regenerative medicine. But like I said, that job, my business has led me to other opportunities like consulting, and then met people that are into the food industry, which I love to eat. So I'm like, okay, let me learn about that and how they set it up, those businesses. And then I reached out to the base with my old commanders and stuff, and that's where I reached out to some of those resources to see how I can get a government contract, so I can partner with this company, because they are also bidding for these contracts, and it's a higher likelihood that a veteran would get it. So I'm trying to partner up into starting a new business with them to see how I can bid for those contracts, and that's where these resources have been helpful. So that's what's in the works, so I can't say anything else.
No, I have not been exposed to any veteran business programs that would fall into my purview, but I did use the VA loan to get a house, so.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right, I want to thank our speakers. I want to open it up for any questions that any of you may have. So if you have a question, just go ahead and raise your hand, and I'll come and give you the mic. Yeah?
So I guess I have 2 questions. My first question is, why entrepreneurship? Because you could have easily went to any place and got your licensing and worked for them. You could have went to wherever and worked for them, but like, why? Why entrepreneurship?
That's a great question. David?
Okay, well, I actually did go join the corporate world. Once I utilized my GI Bill, got my business degree. The wife handled the retail store, and I went to work for corporate America. Went up to vice president of operations really quick. But then the Great Recession happened. Then you realize that you're just a number. You're not somebody that that is that's more than a cost center for them. You know, it's your labor, your cost, so they're going to cut it. And once I realized that, it's like, okay, well, at the lowest moment of our lives during the recession, my employer is pretty much cutting my pay. I wasn't going to let myself go through that again. So once my newborn was born 12 years ago, the next day, once he was healthy, I opened up my own business. So pretty much what I was doing before, printing. So now it's doing my own thing.
Well, I guess for me, like I said, I was working in pain management, and you're working for someone else. It's a very busy practice. COVID happened, and I went from seeing 25 patients a day to 35 to 45 patients a day. About 20 of those were new consults because primary care doctors and everybody else was sending those patients to me. And I'm working from 7:30 to 8 p.m. Meanwhile, my house is falling apart with kids, you know, and my mom is great at babysitting, but she didn't speak English. She didn't know how technology worked. And you know, I'm a salary employee. My salary didn't change whether my contract said up to 25 to 30 patients, it didn't matter. I was also not valued. It became about this meeting the numbers game. And I went into medicine because I cared about people, and because I myself am a disabled veteran, and I chose pain management because I can identify with these people. And now here I am going, okay, I have about 5 minutes of my time, and I became what I didn't want to be. So I saw that change in me and thought, I need to get out, because I can't be the kind of provider I want to be when I'm being rushed and held in this machine of needing numbers. So I decided, you know, I have good relationship with these patients. So it's not, the money will come, but it's about relationships, it's about people. So let me step back, try something new where I can control my schedule, be a better partner, be a better spouse, be a better friend, be a better mother, and also find a way to build a kind of company where I can give back to the community and be the kind of person that I can be happy with at the end of my life. So that was the reason why I chose this path.
Yeah, for me, I guess it just ends up being, you know, having done it on the other side, having, you know, done medicine in the military for all those years, it was just a matter of trying the exact opposite end of the spectrum, I guess, which would be doing it on your own private practice. But yeah, you know, I guess for me, it's less of an entrepreneurial thing. I guess I consider entrepreneurs people that are kind of creating their own businesses and you know, creating a new product or something like that. For me, it's more of a practice, but yeah.
My second question is, like being an entrepreneur, you kind of have to think outside the box. So like, what are some examples where you thought outside of the box?
Start over there.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for me to like sit here and come up with one specific example, but you're right, and that goes back to military training, right? Being able to adapt and adjust. I think that comes from that, and I think what Dr. Miller, you know, mentioned before, different environments that you've been in the military and having deployed, et cetera, myself as well. You're put in situations where you have to think outside the box, and so that's going to come up. I feel like whether you're in corporate America or whether you're an entrepreneur. Now, when you're the entrepreneur, you're the business owner by yourself, then of course it matters a lot more, right? Because everyone's looking at you to adapt and decide what to do next, and you better make the right decision or right choice. But examples for me just come up in the office, just going back to challenges you face being a small business owner versus being in the military setting. Now if the suction pump goes out or the power's out or all the different electronics and technologies we have, if something's not working, then everyone's looking at you, right? To figure out what do we do now, what to do next. So that actually probably goes back to some of the challenges you face being a business owner.
You know, as Mr. David was talking about a business plan, when I started all this, I wrote a business plan out, and one of the things that I did was write down, okay, what kind of business do I want, but who is my ideal client? Who's my audience? Who am I selling to, my ideal dream client? And I gave her a name, and I gave him a name. And that's who I'm gonna market towards, because for my specialty, you have to be really good at Instagram. I just learned Instagram and TikTok a year and a half ago, and my 12-year-old son taught me. So I'm looking at all these women and other doctors out there making these funny videos. I talk a lot, but if a camera points at me, I forget my name. So there was a lot of like these things. I'm like, well, and then I'm not gonna come across genuine. I'm gonna look fake when I'm trying to be somebody I'm not. So how do I connect with people and be genuine and get people to come to me? So one of the things that I did that I don't want to say is necessarily out of the box is I look at my industry and I go, everybody's going crazy with social media marketing, Google, Yelp, they're advertising, paying. I have not done any marketing. I have not paid at all. I joined the Chamber of Commerce. I've been showing up to every single Good Morning Corona, started meeting people. And it's funny, originally I'm like, oh, maybe nobody's interested in Botox and fillers. Maybe nobody wants joint injections or any of the stuff that I offer. But then out of nowhere, 7 months later, I get a phone call. Hey, I met you at the Chamber. Hey, Desiree at the Chamber told me about you. Hey, somebody and some. So this is like somehow people know me. I'm like, okay, so I'll just keep doing it. That turned into the Rotary Club. So that turned into so-and-so. Let me introduce you to this. So I think I'm going, maybe not out of the box, but going backwards. This new school way of just marketing and making everything look pretty on social media, and people show up and you're not delivering what you're advertising because you paid some marketing company to make you look, I mean, if they Photoshop me, I can look like a supermodel, but then you come to my place and it's like, oh, that's not what I was expecting, That's kind of, I didn't want that. I wanted people to get exactly what I said I was going to deliver. So instead of doing that kind of marketing, I just decided I'm gonna go and meet every single person. It's gonna be a longer process to get to where I want, but it will maybe last through the recession because people will know who I am. They know what I stand for. They know that I am a proud veteran. They know I'm a Christian. They know I'm a mom, and they know I genuinely care about people because they met me and they had an opportunity to interact with me. So I guess not outside of the box, but different than what other people in my industry are doing. And I am meeting those people that are my vision, my ideal clients because of that.
To me, that's outside the box.
I'm sorry, what?
I said to me, that's outside of the box.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
social media is like the thing that everyone's doing now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You went back old school. Yeah, old school's good.
So in the military, outside the box thinking, it's got a term, or part of it is called guerrilla warfare. Get outside the trenches, come from the flanks, left, right, disguise yourself, so on and so forth. In the business world, there's a term kind of like that as well. It's called guerrilla marketing. Boots on the ground. Like Dr. Marina was mentioning, get out there, get out of your comfort zone. It's real easy to stay in the business, stay home. It's really hard to out of nowhere, just come and meet somebody, shake their hand, and give you 2-minute spiel about your business. Join the chamber. Those are the things that I feel are valuable. Building relationships out of nowhere, and getting your message across of who you are, what your business are, who you stand for. Getting in front of people. I think that's the most important thing that you can do as a business owner. Yes, advertising is great. All marketing is great, but getting in front of people, joining organizations, and going to events. Every weekend I'm going to an event. I didn't join the chamber until 5 years ago. I've been in business for, over 20 years now. And in those 5 years, I mean, there is a business community here. I know probably 100 business owners, and we're friends, and we can rely on one another and push ideas off each other. So it's very valuable.
I have one more question.
That's why we're here,
The
absolutely.
Jake Show.
So, like, when it comes to entrepreneurship, you get a lot of failure. What kept you going? Because when people end up failing, they're like, oh, this is, a sign from God. This isn't for me. But like with you guys kept going no matter like your failures and all that. So what kept you going?
Starting with you, Marina. I was waiting for that to piggyback. I guess first of all, you have to define what failure is. To me, failure is never trying. I think most people don't try because they're afraid of something, and I was there once too. But then you meet other people out there, and I look at people. I look at people that I look up to, and I'm like, okay. And it's so easy when somebody makes it to, I have older friends. They're 60, 70 years old, and now they're living in a big house, have nice cars, and I'm like, wow, they're lucky. But if you talk to them, You know, they're like, when we first started off for 5 years, we barely made payroll. We lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. We did this. So failure to me is not trying. So that's one. And two, what allows me to keep going is, this is, one, I have to believe in myself and stop putting negative thoughts in my head. And two, I started reading a lot of books about entrepreneurship and listen to podcasts. And I realized there is a pattern. They all failed or something didn't work out. So what did they do? They didn't call it quits there. They adapted. They decided, no, what went wrong? Okay, let me now fix that. So it's a process of, you know, constantly learning. And I think when you stop learning and think you got it all, then you definitely, that's also failure. So this is never gonna be easy. There's people, I mean, in the pandemic, I opened up a business, but how many businesses were, you know, went under in a pandemic? And I hope those people didn't quit. I hope they bounced back, right? And I think that's also very much what makes us Americans, is that, you know, especially me, being born and raised in another country, you know, I'm, at this point, I mean, I'm so stubborn because it's just not the American way. You know, 9/11 happened. We didn't quit. We got up, we fought back, and we united, and we fight over everything. But when something like that happens, all of a sudden, it doesn't matter where you originally came from, we are all American, right? So there's that willfulness that I have because of the military that I just can't quit. So, but that has to be a commitment you make to yourself. And there's I forgot the guy, but if you want to know what kind of person you are, look at you're the average of the 5 people closest to you. So I am never the smartest person in the room. Anytime I see someone that's smarter, that has something better than me, I immediately befriend them. And I am very open to mentorship. So that's why I can't quit, because anytime I think I'm failing, they tell me a story and they bail me out. So that's something I would recommend. Make friends with people that are smarter than you, and surround yourself with good people. That will make the difference. Whoever.
Yeah, I think a lot of what Dr. Miller was saying is rings true there. Yeah, it depends on what you define as failure, right? Just because something didn't work out doesn't mean that necessarily failed. It just means that maybe it's time to either adjust and adapt, right? And look at the business plan and there may be sometimes to scrap the business plan, and maybe you got to, you know, start over again, and that's okay too. So, you know, it depends on, again, what you define as failure or not, or maybe just, you know, time for the next project also. But I think you have to have there's got to be a fine line between how long do you keep working on one project, and you know what I mean, and at some point, you know, are you just spinning your wheels? So remember, at the end of the day, if we're talking about business, there's got to be some pragmatism to it, right? Because there's a practical end goal. If you're talking about life, well, then you could say never quit, right? But in business, you know, there may be some times to quit, you know what I mean, depending. So I think at some point there's a little bit of the emotional part of it, but then there's also a business part of it. Just try to keep those things clear, I guess.
So the only way to be successful is for you to fail. You have to fail. And those lessons that you learn from that failure, you adapt, you adjust, and you try again. And you know, it's hit and miss. You know, if you're trying to stay in business, you're trying to reach your demographic, your target market, and you think it's this, this, and this. You do an ad campaign, and then all of a sudden it didn't work. Well, let's figure out why it didn't work. Let's break it down. Maybe we need to think smaller. Maybe we need to go into a bigger of a niche to really succeed. So without failure, you can't really succeed. So don't be afraid of failing. You have to fail. That's the only way you're going to succeed in life. Now I'm going to give the example of, you know, Sylvester Stallone when he was coming up in the acting world. You know, in Hollywood, nobody would even take him seriously. Nobody would look at him. He wrote the movie, the script Rocky, and he pitched it to movie studios. He was told 100 times no. We'll buy your script, but not with you as a lead actor. Finally, somebody told him yes, and he's successful. Look at him now. So he got 100 no's before the one yes. So don't be afraid.
Those are some amazing answers, and I know this is veteran-owned business or seminar, but these are what you're telling us can be applied to any type of business, whether you're a minority business or if you're starting your own nonprofit, veteran business. These are all great tidbits that you guys are giving us. Any other questions that anybody might have?
Is it specifically for them, or can we ask you a question?
You can ask me a question.
I don't need the microphone.
Okay.
You all hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
So I own a business. I thought this was a seminar for people that already own businesses that were coming to look for like financial grants or resources. Is any of that information available today?
Absolutely. Assuming you're a veteran, correct? Okay, yeah, absolutely. There are programs that you can take advantage of. You can meet with me after we can get you some resources. You can meet with Stephanie as well, and Amanda. We can give you some additional information. And I want to encourage all of you to stick around after, network with us, talk with us if you want more information. If you didn't have a chance to raise your hand, we'll make ourselves open to you with any kind of questions. Absolutely, 100%. Alrighty. Well, my hope is that the information that I want to thank each and one of you, David, Marina, and Prab. Thank you so much. Give them a round of applause for taking time today to share their experiences, what they've experienced since leaving the military. My hope is that all of our speakers, or one of them, all of them, have given you a tidbit of information or a nugget to take away that you can apply to your own business, whatever stage it's at, whether you're looking to start one, or if you're in the middle of one, or if you're already a seasoned veteran or veteran-owned business, you can apply something to you now. Yeah, so I just want to thank all of you. Please stick around for networking. There is lunch there's pizza behind you. Thank you all so much for coming, and thank you all.